everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Let's tell you that in all of the drama and the controversies over the proposition for the rejigging of the Nigerian tax system, there being heavy debate over the proposal for the tax reforms bills, and the nation appears to have been divided in some of the aspects of the issue. So Channels Television will be hosting a special town hall tomorrow, Monday the 2nd of December, 2024, 7 p.m. live on Channels Television. So you need to keep a date as we engage some stakeholders, and we'll be bringing Nigerians into the room from all walks of life to engage in a conversation and ask critical questions on the gray areas in the proposed bill. 7 p.m., a special town hall organized by Channels Television on the proposition for the reforms in the Nigerian tax system. Now, tonight, my guest is a second-term governor of a state that has been so troubled by Nigeria's most notorious insecurity problems, Boko Haram. And over the years, he has come face-to-face with the bullets and has battled to bring down the hydra-headed monster, which has decimated most communities and left a lot of them disheartened and sending jitters down the spine of many Nigerians. He's an academic who found his way into politics. Now, a politician, full-blown, who seems to be very blunt in a manner in which he speaks his mind on issues. Professor Governor Zulum, the governor of Borno State, is my guest tonight on the program, and is live for us here in our studio. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you. Thank you so much indeed. How's it been? I know that you were a commissioner that had the task of the radicalization, the reformation, and reconstruction, and you've had your own fair share, or you had a confrontation with some of these terrorists. Your convoy was attacked at some point, and some those who would describe it as an escape by the whiskers. How do you describe the last few years of Boko Haram war in the Nigerian Northeast, especially in Borno State?
Thank you very much for this very important question. Yes, the insurgency in the northeastern part of Nigeria has started since 2009. We are now into the 15 years of the insurgency. But the peak of the insurgency was between the period of 2012, 13, 14, 16, up to about 2021. However, as at now, the insurgency has been reduced by over 90% in Borno State, and I believe you know better than me. But this did not happen in a vain. Let me acknowledge the support of the Nigerian military, especially those that are working in Borno State over the past 5 years. But most importantly, let me commend the efforts of the Civilian Joint Task Force, because they did very well. And above all, I also want to commend the citizens of Borno State for their resilience. What we did in curbing the insurgency is by strengthening the resilience of the community. And then most importantly, we decided to address the social, political, and economic dimensions of the crisis, which is fundamental to addressing insecurity in any part of the country. But as of now, we are doing very well, and we believe we have addressed the situation to a greater percentage.
You can tell us, and you are saying as a governor who likes to get on the ground, you go to some of these communities that before you got into office, at the time you were commissioner, it was a global outrage against Boko Haram and how they sent communities packing, left some local government hosting their flags. Would you say that menace have been put to bed? You said 90%.
Yes.
But how powerful? Because at the point the government of this country said that they have been so decimated that they don't have the capacity to be able to act aggressively the way they did. But 90%, the 10% could be troubling. But would you say they've been put to bed permanently?
No.
They're still there?
Yes, we still have pockets of Boko Haram, especially in the fringes of the Lake Chad as well as in the Sambisa Game Reserve and Mandra Hills. I just want to inform you that recently there was an attack on Chadian soldiers by Boko Haram. And because of this reason, the Chadian authority have taken a very strong decision to repel Boko Haram insurgents and ISWAP insurgents in their territory. The president himself was in the battlefield. Somehow they have succeeded in sending them away from the territory of the Chad, and then most of them are now inside Nigeria, especially in Borno State. Last 2 weeks, a community was attacked, and then we lost some soldiers. But luckily enough, just about a week, the insurgents have attacked Kukawa, headquarters of Kukawa local government areas of Borno State, where the Nigerian military has killed nothing fewer than 50 of them, and then they have seized sizable number of their machines and equipment, especially rocket grenade and others. So I think you are right. It is not yet Uhuru, because there is a need for us to tighten our belt with a view to defeating the remnants of the insurgency.
What about some of the communities in your state that are still under the control of Boko Haram?
Let me tell you one very important thing. Before 2019, there was a time, before 2015, there was a time Boko Haram, about 22 local government areas of Borno State were under the control of Boko Haram out of 27 local government areas.
But 22?
Yes. It was a very serious matter. I want to use this opportunity to commend the former president, Buhari. He did very well in ensuring that normalcy returns to the northeastern part of Nigeria. During this time, most of the LGS are under the control of the Boko Haram. But fortunately enough, as at now, no single local government area is under the control of Boko Haram in Borno State. Kudos to the Nigerian army, kudos to the federal government of Nigeria for sustaining these efforts. I can tell the right thing. You know me very well. But most importantly, we still have some certain problems. We have some certain LGS that were liberated, but we don't have human settlements there.
People are not returning yet?
They are not returning yet. Especially we have Malumpatori, which is the headquarters of Abadam local government area of Borno State. We have also Guzamala, local government areas of Borno State, and Marte. These three local governments up to now, we don't have human settlements. We have military in Malumpatori. Malumpatori is just a border to Chad Republic. Just 3 kilometers away from Malumpatori, we have a Niger town called Boso. They were never displaced. I see no reason why Nigerian, we cannot resettle our people back in Malumpatori. Likewise, this community that I just said, which is Kareto was displaced for about 6 to 7 times within the last 10 years. I don't think, the commitment is not there sometime. So because I'm pleading to the federal government of Nigeria as well as the Nigerian military to look into the possibility of resettling people in these 3 LGS of Borno State, because they are our economic hub. They are in the shores of the Lake Chad, where we have potential for agricultural development. The 2017 UN resolution clearly stated that military operations have to be followed by stabilization mechanisms, which is reconstruction, rehabilitation, and resettlement.
I mean, I look at Abadam local government that you mentioned and Malam Faturi. Malam Faturi has seen a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Almost 100, there are those who will say those communities in Malam Faturi almost totally decimated.
Yes.
The insurgents took hostage of people, homes, took everything out in Malam Faturi, and difficulties in returning there. What are probably the necessary solutions? Because there are kilometers upon kilometers of the Nigerian borders that are just free from ingress and egress without being checked. Porous borders that we have. That is a major problem. There are those who say the Boko Haram insurgents, they are coming and going because of the trouble from the Nigerian military. But they do the Dasali Act and they move out immediately out of Nigerian borders. Is there anything that could be done in our borders, especially the borders of Abadam local government, especially because there are those who believe that Malam Faturi will not know peace until the borders are properly protected?
Thank you very much. I think what is needed on our side is the political will and commitment required to do so. Because I told you that Malam Faturi is 3 kilometers away from a village called Boso, from the Republic of Niger. This village was never displaced.
It's still intact.
It's still intact. The numbers of soldiers that we have in Malam Faturi are quite larger than the numbers of soldiers, Nigerian soldiers that we have in Boso. They have the equipment. But what I want to tell you is that it's only because of the crisis in Niger, power shift. Otherwise, by now, we could have resettled them. There's commitment from the Nigerian army that, inshallah, very soon we shall return these communities. But what I'm appealing to the Nigerian army is to strengthen the resilience of their officers and men. Recently, they were attacked in Kareto. After a few days, the Nigerian army withdrew from Kareto. What we're supposed to do is to reinforce this community so that the insurgents will not take over the community again. But honestly speaking, I want to say that they are doing their best. I can talk about the Nigerian army in Borno State. I complained severally before, but now they are doing their best, and I believe in the next few months we shall get rid of all these problems.
A big question here is on the issue of whether or not we have really learned any lesson from the root cause of this insurgency. Have we?
You are right. Yes, we have learned some lessons. Because as I earlier told you, the root causes are not limited to endemic poverty, pervasive illiteracy. You are getting what I'm saying. And then social inequality, environmental degradation, among others. Over a period of time, as a result of the insurgency, we have learned our lesson because we did a town hall meeting on the insurgency in Borno State. And based on the reports that are reaching my office and based on the 17 far-reaching recommendations that we have taken, the people of Borno State have learned a lot. And we are trying to address this issue.
Do you still see political elements in the insurgency?
While, as I earlier told you, among the population, I cannot say who, we still have some people that don't want to see the end of this crisis.
And they're from Borno State?
Everywhere in the country, including in my home state.
They are benefiting from it?
They are benefiting from. Not only civilians. cut across all stratas.
And do we know these people?
While, it's very difficult to to deal with an enemy that you don't see him. But many a times, informants were arrested within the community. Many a times, military personnel were arrested, trying to, provide some ammunition to the insurgents. Are you getting what I'm saying?
So there's infiltration in the military.
Yes.
There are infiltrations by the locals also.
Yes, including the civilians. But most importantly, there's also what we call the foreign intrusion.
Which one is larger? Which one troubles you the most? Which one gives you sleepless night out of all of these elements?
Boko Haram insurgency is a multifaceted aspect that, it's very difficult to describe. You have said it, the porosity of our borders. Are you getting what I'm saying? The landmass of Borno State has a total landmass of about 72,000 square kilometers. Then the fringes of the Lake Chad. The Sambisa Game Reserve is a safe haven. So if we want to deal with the issue of Boko Haram, there is a need for us to deal with the issue of safe haven.
If we don't, we are playing with fire.
Yes. Our forests are so porous.
But again, I'll come to a few issues. You've spent a lot of money, your administration and the federal government consistently funding on how to stop insurgency. Do you have a timeline on some of the expectations to evaluate the impact of these investments that are being made?
Yes. This is very easy. The federal government and the government of Borno State have invested a lot in curbing the menace of the insurgency. But we have seen light at the end of the tunnel because, as I earlier told you, in 2015, 22 local government areas of Borno State are under the control of Boko Haram. Out of our major roads, only one road was motorable. That means the road between Maiduguri to Kano. All other roads are not motorable. Now all the roads are motorable. We have started the process of reconciliation, rehabilitation, and resettlement. We have resettled over 1 million people within the last 3 to 4 years. But these are some of the gains that we have made. And then we believe that, inshallah, within the next 2 years, the insurgency will come to the barest minimal.
There is a troubling trend, though, and which is something that a lot of people feel it is a keg. We're sitting on a keg of gunpowder, especially in the northern region of the country, with UNICEF data indicating that 60% of Nigeria's out-of-school children are in northern state. A lot of accusing fingers have been pointed to you and some of those of you who belong to the political class, the leadership of northern Nigeria, the failure to give proper leadership to the region that has led to some of these children wandering the street without any focus, future, or purpose. What are you doing to address so that we are not breeding new sets of Boko Haram on our streets?
This is a very important question. And I believe you are right that lack of good governance anywhere, in any country, is responsible for insurgency, banditry, or anything. This is right. But at my own level as the governor of Borno State, since I took over power, I decided to address the root causes of the insurgency. How? Especially the Almajiri education. We have about 1.2 million out-of-school children about last 3 years ago. But as of now, we are able to reduce the number by about 800,000. What we did in Borno State is to create opportunities for the out-of-school children. We have established many high Islamic colleges because some of them are in Islamic schools. So what we did is to streamline the non-formal educational sector into this formal educational sector. We built Islamic schools. What we did is to introduce intensive numeracy, intensive literacy, digital literacy, and above all, technical and vocational education in these schools, thereby addressing the cases of out-of-school children. Because what matters is not provision of education. We want to see how we can create wealth, which is very important. You can go to Borno State one time and then see the numbers of technical and vocational educational institutions that we establish. I'm giving more priority to TVET education because there's a mismatch between our educational systems and the industry and our graduates and the labor market. The only way we can address these challenges is by introducing a very robust technical and vocational education in our states. And I'm doing very well.
I see some of the school structures that you have put together. There are a lot of people who believe that beyond that, there must be deliberate effort because there are laws in Nigeria that have protected the right of children, but yet we still see some of these children still roaming the streets. Also, the role of parents is very critical. What are the parents doing to allow issues of child control? A lot of have come into the debate. Is there anything in that regard that people are able to manage their reproductive energy in commensurate capacity to their means or their resources?
Thank you very much. I just want to bring to a kind notice that our religion, Islam, does not encourage begging. This is one. And secondly, the responsibility for bringing up a child should be rested on the parents. You are right. But somehow, we couldn't do well in this direction. Our population is a problem in northern Nigeria, you are right. Yes, because we refuse to follow the tenets of Islam also. What matters is not the quantum of population that we have in the north, but the quality of the population. I believe the Northern Governors Forum, a few months ago we had a meeting and we are working assiduously to review the Almajiri education in Borno, in the northern Nigeria, and we believe we are coming up with far-reaching recommendations that will address the issue of Almajiri education.
Mm. Do you have targets? Do you have timelines?
We have timelines. We have timelines. We'll take them up the street.
Okay.
We'll provide opportunities for them to school. For example, in my own case, I built more than 5,000 classrooms within the last 6 years. Again, I told you, the most important aspect is not just education. Purposeful education. Education that can create jobs so that they will be self-employed after the completion of their schools.
Are you criminalizing these children being on the street? There should be people who are responsible and they should be held accountable.
I'm not criminalizing it, but we are taking some certain measures that very soon Nigerians should know what we are doing. But under no circumstances, we, the governors in the north, are in support of the out-of-school children.
Is it sin in Islam for children to be begging? No, is it sin also for parents not to cater for their rewards?
Yes. Islam does not encourage it.
Let me ask you, are you expecting...
But let me tell you, Mr. Shogun, you have to know that I did my postgraduate studies in the University of Ibadan. Are you getting what I'm saying? I was in Lagos too. Yes, the population is high in northern Nigeria, I believe, because of the numbers of wives that we used to marry amongst others. But we also have beggars in southern Nigeria. But the numbers are not up to our own numbers. I want to use this opportunity to thank the federal government for re-establishing the Almajiri Educational Board. I think we are working together to resolve some of the issues. What matters is not the population. How will you manage the population?
Are you, for example, discouraging marrying more than you can carry?
I don't want you to go far, but because I'm a Muslim, so my religion permits me to marry 1, 2, 3, 4. But provided I'll take care of them. Are you getting what I'm saying? If somebody will take care of his children, we don't have any problem. I don't want us to debate more.
Because it's really a religious matter.
Yes, a religious matter, but I want you to understand that Islam is a complete way of life.
Let me ask you, are you expecting any hostage from some of these insurgents? The Chibok captives and some of the others that have been taken, are there major people that you're expecting back, that you're still hoping that one day they will return?
Yes, many have returned. Many have returned. And even last 2 weeks, we received 1 or 2 of them. Within the last 3 years, at least nothing fewer than 60 of them have returned. And I believe many are returning.
Yes. Let's look at some of the other issues relating to about 400,000 people were displaced by the flooding.
Yes.
The question is that those who believe that the dam has also a role to play when the water level rose. Is there any lesson? Is there anyone that have been queried about the issue of the dam? Because there are questions as to what was being done to avert that disaster that has happened. What have you done as a governor in that respect?
Thank you very much. I want you to understand that the management of the dam is under the purview of the federal government of Nigeria. 1. But that does not mean that the state government cannot support in the areas of the management of the dam. 1, the issue of maintenance, not only in Alo Dam, but all over all dams in Nigeria, is a matter of great concern to all of us. Management is key. But secondly, we also have one major problem. People decided to build homes on waterways. This is also one of the problems that we are facing. But above all, the issue of climate change is also there. It's real. And then I also want you to understand that this year's rainy season was so high, so intense. Within the last 30 years, for the last 40 years, we never witnessed such a volume of storm in Borno State. So it's a natural phenomenon to some certain extent. Nobody expects that Maiduguri should witness such kind of flooding. But by and large, there is a need for the federal government to ensure maintenance of our dam in a sustainable manner.
You lived almost your entire academic life studying agriculture and allied studies. And when we wonder, Maiduguri is a very, very major host to farmers and farming communities. But that has been largely affected by the insurgency. The flood has also taken out crops. Are you worried about the harvest?
Fortunately enough, we had a very, 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 very good harvest this year. God is so supreme. Yes, the areas that were affected by the flood have witnessed drought. But this year's harvest was so good. We experienced a bumper harvest throughout the 27 local government areas of Borno State, and that might never be feasible without the support of the Nigerian army, and I want to commend them also. We received support from the federal government of Nigeria in terms of seats, and the Borno state government has done a lot also in terms of provision of fertilizers. We received fertilizers from the federal government free of charge. I want to acknowledge this support that we received from the federal government of Nigeria.
As someone who is an expert in agriculture engineering, when we wonder that there will be a revolution in agriculture under your leadership, there will be some kind of re-engineering of agricultural practice in Borno State. Are you thinking about that? Is there anything that you want Maiduguri, or Borno State, to bequeath to the rest of the world through agriculture?
It's something that we have started very well. We have started very well in agriculture, especially in modern agriculture, irrigation farming. But believe me sincerely, we don't want to make noise. We want to surprise Nigerians.
What will you be producing?
We are producing rice, we are producing wheat.
Are you able to feed the nation with that?
Yes.
And what is the quantum of your expectation of production?
I cannot promise that we can feed the entire nation, because I'm a realist. But I want to bring to your kind notice that Damasak is the headquarters of mobile local government areas of Borno State that was ravaged by the insurgency. Within the last 3 years, we have invested heavily on irrigation farming. What we did was to install solar pumps. Borno State government has invested heavily in procuring solar pumps. We have established solar pumps. Mind you, we cultivated a landmass spanning a distance of up to 16 kilometers rice cultivation in Damasak. Damasak hit at all the last 5 years. They can't cultivate. They couldn't cultivate their land.
And this is all solely state government
Solely
effort.
state government effort.
No private sector involvement.
No private sector involvement. But we are supporting the farmers. But I also want to acknowledge the support of inputs that came from the federal government of Nigeria. Then go to Baga. Baga is, one of the areas that was devastated by the insurgency. I believe you know the history. I was attacked in Baga 3 years ago.
I've flown across Baga before, reporting from Baga.
You can go to Baga. We are establishing about 5,000 hectares irrigation system. Apart from this, we are also investing in surface irrigation. If you see the quantum of food items that are coming out from Baga, Mongono, this year will surprise. I believe I will send some pictures to you. So, most importantly, I want to promise to you that before the expiration of my tenure as the governor of Borno State, I will invest heavily in modern irrigation.
And now you are talking about how many produce now that you are focusing majorly on? Rice?
Rice, wheat, sorghum, maize, sesame.
So majorly for local consumption, or you are thinking of exportation?
We are thinking of exporting it.
All right. Let's take a break, Governor. Yeah. But when we come back, there are those who believe that you are anti-Tinubu government in your stance against the tax reform bills. I'd like to know your position, your grouse on that proposition. And that's going to be our next conversation when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Professor Babagana Zulum, the governor of Borno State, is talking with us on the program. I'd like to go into the issues of tax reforms bill, but before that, I'd like some clarification. We understand that there's suggestions to the fact that the civilian JTF elements are being sent to places like Zamfara and Sokoto and possibly to Niger State, and this is going to be happening very soon. If this is true, what exactly is going on?
I'm not aware of this.
You're aware about the new element, the terror element in around Sokoto and Kebbi?
I'm here not to discuss these matters. Security issues are very sensitive issues, and I believe you have asked me a question at the beginning of the session, and I think I dealt with this matter very well.
Okay.
I don't want to comment more on matters that I don't have much insight about it.
Let me take you to issues of tax reforms. What is your grouse? You said that if the tax reforms bill as it is right now is passed, it will hurt the North, and that you will not be able to pay salaries. Is that really the fact?
Let me go back to the statement that you made before the break, when you said whether I'm anti-Tinubu administration or something like this.
Those are some of the impressions some people have.
Let me tell you, I'm a strong member of APC. If you can count 2 governors between 2019 to 2023 that were in support of Tinubu, you can mention Professor Zulum. I was the first governor to come out publicly and said that power must go to South. This is the misconception that is ongoing. Unfortunately, the president was told by many that the North are against him.
Is that a fact?
No, it's not a fact. 60.2% of his vote came from North. Are you getting what I'm saying? On this tax issue, there's a lot of misconception. During the NEC, we had a NEC, and we advised federal government to force for a moment in order to have deeper consultations with stakeholders. That was our own statement. Then later on, people have turned it upside down. But I want you to believe that consultation is central to democracy. This is a beggar's belief that in a democratic setting, we are begging for the right to consult or to be consulted. This is only what has happened. We haven't said anything, but we felt that the provision, VAT provision in the tax law, which clearly stated that VAT allocation should be based on derivation. The proposed bill further stated that 60% of the VAT tax will be shared based on derivation. So I'm not an economist, but based on the calculations that we did, only Lagos State and Rivers State will benefit from this scheme.
Is that a fact? Because I mean, reading through the document and the bills.
Let me finish what I'm saying. However, we have had series of consultations with the FIRS team. I had a meeting with discussions with the governor of Lagos State. Lagos State governor told me that, look, Prof, Lagos will lose a lot if this is implemented. While we did our own research and then concluded that we would lose. Then the matter of the fact is that why are we in rush? We advise the federal government to take a force, expunge some of the clauses in the tax bill that are inimical to the growth and development of not only northern Nigeria, Southeast will be severely affected. South will be severely affected. Even in the Southwest, only Lagos will benefit from this scheme, to our own observation. However, be it as it may be, they said, no, this is not right. But what we are telling them is that give us time. Why are we in rush? Let us force, and then let us do deeper consultation because we are in democracy. So that we should understand the nitty-gritty of this tax regime before passing it to law. This is our bone of contention. And then people are saying, oh, Professor Zulum is against the presidency. This is a democratic setting. Unless people want us to to do a garrison democracy. Democracy, we have the right to say. But what we told them is that let us take time and evaluate the efficacy of the tax systems before we pass it into law. That does not mean anything. On that particular day of FEC, I don't want to mention a name. Somebody said, Nelfon is not doing well. I raised a question, and I said, no, if there's any one federal government organization that is doing very well, it's Nelfon, as of now in Nigeria. Because up to one university of Maiduguri was paid about 1.2 billion naira. I've never seen this one. Just when I'm coming with my driver, I've seen the level of road construction in FCT. And I also saw the aviation industry, development and agriculture. But it is very important for us to say the right thing. And I'm not withdrawing my statement. To my own observation, if this tax bill is being passed, the North should be shortchanged, the Southeast should be shortchanged, South should be shortchanged, as well as the Southwest. The only state that will benefit is Lagos.
Where will all the money go to?
Lagos.
All of this?
Most of them will go to Lagos.
But you said the governor of Lagos said...
Yes, that is why I'm saying we need more time. This is a democratic setting. What people have said to the president that no, the governors are against him, no, we have never said something like this. We know the powers of the president. I'm a system man. I respect him. If the president wants to, use his powers to pass this tax bill, he may have his ways, but it has its consequences on the people.
Is it upsetting leaders in the North?
Yes.
Is it making Tinubu to lose followership in the North?
What I'm telling you now is that democracy is about interest. If Everest team said that we are not losing, we ask them, please let us have more consultation before passing this law. Are you getting what I'm saying? So there's nothing much that I can add. And another provision of the tax law is that by 2029, third fund will be scrapped because companies will cease to support third fund according to the law. I was a lecturer from the University of Maiduguri. I was once a head of a polytechnic, and I know how the educational system in Nigeria benefited a lot from TED Fund. TED Fund is one of the single largest organizations in Nigeria that has supported the educational industry. And the reform is saying that TED Fund will be scrapped in 2029. NASENI will be scrapped in 2029. Why did we create NASENI? NASENI was established in order to boost local production, reducing over-dependence on hydrocarbons. But somebody is saying that NASENI will be scrapped in 2029. NIDA will be scrapped. We are now in a digital world. These are some of our concerns. But we believe, when you look at my statement, I said we are pleading to Mr. President to look into the plight of some of the states. This matter is not about North. Some are trying to bring confusion that it's a northern affairs. No. It includes the South, is South. As of now, that you cannot get 3 governors in Nigeria that are in support of this tax law. But what we are saying is that, okay, you are right. If you want to say that this is a new law, let us have time to discuss more about the law and then understand the merits and demerits. Let us withdraw the law, some of the portions, expunge some of the clauses. Yes, we know some people convince us that some portions of the tax law are very important. Are you getting what I'm saying? So this is our major concern,
There are some positions that have been held against some of what has been your worry that you have stated tonight as the proponents and those who have pushed for this bill to come to pass, because they believe that, in fact, the fact actually is that states will get more. And in fact, the Northeast Development Commission will be able to give a state like Borno State more in terms of the derivation that comes for it. There are a lot of people who believe that development and organization of the collection or revenue collection system will be more reasonable. Taxation will be off on food and items that the poor are consuming. And that those who also criticize that the issue of levies and taxation on alcohol that some of the states are benefiting from, that some people are all now agitating. That doesn't make sense. When you don't consume a particular product, why do you want to benefit from the levies and taxes over it?
I believe all these things are rhetorics. I just want to say one statement. We have never said no to Mr. President. But we believe this is a democratic setting. What we are saying is that let us have wider consultations on this tax bill. Why are we in rush?
It's going to go to public hearing, Governor.
If Lagos said it's not benefiting from this system, I told Governor Blake, I told even the chairman of FIRS that we don't want Lagos to fail. We want Lagos to get more. What we told him is that let us maintain status quo. Are we complaining? We have not complained. Why can't we maintain a status quo for some certain period? Until when we determine the efficacy of the system. Let me tell you, as at now, there is no infrastructure on ground to implement this law.
What do you mean by that?
Do FIRS have the infrastructure on ground to disaggregate the taxes that are coming from different sections of the state? I just read one article by someone in Anambra State, named Emeka or something like that. He said, we have 15 branches of First Bank in Anambra State. The implication of this tax law clearly stated that 60% of the value-added tax that are coming from these 15 branches of First Bank in Anambra will go to Lagos. Another argument that that particular gentleman wrote is that he said, as at last 2015 or so, he said there are about 3 million MTN voice subscribers in Anambra State. But because MTN has its headquarters in Lagos, 60% of the VAT collected from these 3 million subscribers will go to Lagos. So are you getting what I'm saying?
So you are fundamentally asking for more time?
Yes.
For consultation, wider consultation.
Let them give us facts and figures.
Right.
Let them convince us. This is not about something. You can listen to what I'm saying always, even in televisions. Whenever President Tinubu supported us with food items, I will mention it. Are you getting what I'm saying? I'm a beneficiary, even during this flood disaster.
But on this one, you do not think that it is right?
Yes, I don't think it is right. And then it's right that we call upon our legislatures to resist from any attempt to shortchange us. Because this is why they are voted for.
All right.
Are you getting what I'm saying?
Governor Zulum, many thanks. There will be a wider conversation about this, more education on this tomorrow on Channel Television. Because of these debates, Channel Television has taken it upon itself to do a town hall tomorrow at 7 p.m. where stakeholders will be asking critical questions, and we have panelists that will be dissecting all of the angles for the interests of the Nigerian people. Your voice has to be heard as a Nigerian. But thank you so much indeed, Professor Governor Zulum, Executive Governor of Borno State. It's a pleasure having you tonight on the program. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.